record. Okay, so how did you get involved with the Sacred Heart Enthronement?
So my involvement with the Sacred Heart Enthronement actually makes me third generation Sacred Heart. My grandfather made plaques in his basement for Mother Teresa of Calcutta's order, where these images of the exact image that we sent out would go into hospice homes and in orphanages where they provide that consolation for people around the world. I really didn't understand what this devotion was as I was growing up, but I would see my grandparents praying the rosary every day, making these plaques with the men of the Sacred Heart, and I knew it was special. I also had other relatives painting the image of the Sacred Heart and living this devotion out in a very ordinary way. So later my parents got involved and started Sacred Heart Columbus, and I was able to see firsthand how lives were being transformed through this devotion, and it was bringing so much hope. I do remember as a child when our home was enthroned as the first time, it was a significant moment for me. I was a teenager. I was going through my own journey of figuring out if I wanted to be Catholic. I knew my parents, it was important to my family, but I was just living my life in that moment. But when we did the enthronement, I remember the priest saying those prayers and welcoming Jesus, and I remember he even opened the front door. And that was really impactful for me to stand there and see that Jesus was now there, and anything I did was no longer in secret, but yet my friend, my God, was here. And I can look back and see special graces that came into my life. Now, as a wife and mother, I've been married 20 years with 7 children. We're at 19 to 2, so I have many different stages and phases I'm at. We did the enthronement 5 years ago, and I can see the amazing thing about this devotion is that it's ongoing, it's transformative. It's not just once and done. It's really an experience where once Jesus comes into your life through the enthronement, your life is never the same. I still remember when my husband put the image of the Sacred Heart on the mantle, and we all kneeled and prayed as a family, and I remember this feeling in my heart like, okay, Lord, what's going to happen now? I'd always been involved in ministry since my 20s, and I can see looking back that each moment of ministry work has allowed me to see that I am the hands and feet of Christ. But I also need that heart that loves Him as much as I serve, because many times we can serve and lose that love, and this devotion constantly gives you the heart, the ability to love others. So a week after our enthronement, my 8th grade son at the time was running on the treadmill in the basement. I was cooking dinner, and I said, come up for dinner. And he said, Mom, I'm going to take a nap now. And I remember thinking, oh, that's strange. But like I said, I had a lot of children. I was so glad that I paused in that moment and realized that something more was going on. And what we realized very shortly after his desire to take a nap is that we had a high amount of carbon monoxide on our home. It was a new home we purchased in June, and we had no idea that we were being exposed to this. Many of the children had headaches. I kept thinking it was sports, dehydration. I had football players. But what I realized in that moment when when the news was revealed at our levels of carbon monoxide, the person kept saying to me, you're just so lucky. You're just so lucky that we caught this in your family. And he was really shooken up. My whole, actually it was my water heater and my furnace had to be immediately turned off that November. And I knew it wasn't luck. I knew it was the Sacred Heart. I knew it was the enthronement. And I knew that it was my ability to have God in my world, God being present. And, we got the new furnace, we took new steps, but that was just God's way of working in my physical reality. But the spiritual transformation is one that's more touching than even a carbon monoxide story. The way in which the Lord, one of the things about the enthronement is that He reveals what you need to know. And every parent, God is trying to show you what you need to know. And so through this devotion of honoring our Lord, I've been able to have meaningful conversations with each one of my children that I know would not have ever happened without the enthronement. As they live in a culture that's as they live in a culture that's fast-paced and secular, they need to understand where their Catholic faith, how to live it out. And I believe the enthronement has been a special protection. I believe the enthronement has been a special protection over their spirituality, over their experiences. And we've been able to make significant changes based on what their spiritual needs are, but also very little baby steps, such as a commitment to family mealtime.
Look over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Such as a new commitment to family mealtime, or gathering for the family rosary, or gathering just for family prayer and sharing our intentions. But one thing I've learned is that without prayer and without Jesus coming into my physical home, I can do all the ministry work around the country, but these are the people that matter the most to me, and that making those baby steps in our faith truly has been transformative, not just for me as a parent, but also in my marriage. So I recommend that this devotion is not one and done. The enthronement is not, a moment where you did it and now you wait. It's going deeper into the heart of Christ and seeing that honoring our Lord can happen in very ordinary moments, and He wants to help you. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, as I have been feeling overwhelmed at many different moments in my life, I have felt overwhelmed. But I know that looking back, the enthronement has given me new tools, spiritual tools for transformation. And I can't underestimate the significance of those. I can't underestimate the enthronement and what that meant to me looking back. And oftentimes that's how it is. It's the ordinary moments looking back that are where the most significant, impactful experiences happen. And that's really what the enthronement has been for us.
All right. I think we got
more than you.
Yeah.
More than